everyone, and welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. I am your host, attorney Elsa W. Smith. I'm also the owner of the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning. I'm really excited about our show today. We have a wonderful guest for you lined up, and I'm going to talk to you about her in a minute. For those of you who are new to the show, we are streaming on via StreamYard. So please give StreamYard permission for us to view your comments. We'd love to hear from you, and say hi and let us know where you're viewing this from. So on to today's guest. Her name is Shahrina Ankhi-Krol. Ms. Kroll is the owner of Ankhi-Krol Law. It's a boutique law firm in New York City. She works exclusively with startups and small businesses in the following areas: business law, contracts, trademarks, copyrights, and so forth throughout the country. She has a nationwide practice. Shahrina started Ankhi-Krol Law at the age of 27 and has received numerous awards and recognitions for her dedication to the field of law. Notably, she has been selected as a Rising Star super lawyer, a recognition given to no more than 2.5% of attorneys in each state for each year for the last 7 years. She's given countless talks and presentations at business conferences, expos, and world-renowned educational institutions like New York University, the Fashion Institute of Technology, and the City University of New York. She's appeared on television and radio shows, written numerous articles. She's appeared on podcasts, in magazines and newspapers, and is a frequent commenter on the Law and Crime Network. So without further ado, I'd like to bring to you Shahrina Ankhi-Krol. Shahrina, hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being so gracious with your time. I'm really excited for the audience to get to know you and to learn more about your practice and to get into a little bit more about you as a woman, female professional that you are. So let's jump right into it. Why don't you give us a few details about you and your story, and tell us how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Thank you so much. So, as you mentioned, I started my law practice at 27, and I had exactly zero clients because not only was I young, I obviously just started in New York City, which is a cutthroat business environment. The same for the legal environment in New York City. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? As they say. So I started from nothing. I went to undergrad in Buffalo, and then I went to law school in Michigan. So I didn't even have that the professional roots down in New York City. But I came back. I'm from Queens in New York. My parents are there, and I grew up in Queens. So when I wanted to come back home, I had to start from scratch. And just like all the business owners, small business owners that I work with, that is one huge thing that we all have in common, is that we all started from nothing. And in my personal life, I have two children. I have a 5.5-year-old. You have to say the half, and also a 7-year-old. So I'm quite busy with them as well. So on top of being a business owner, I also have kids. I have a dog, which is another child. For those of you who are dog owners yourselves, that is another child.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I can't claim him on taxes, but I have to say he is a child. He's my firstborn, and then of course my husband. So it is a pretty busy life, but I'm enjoying it.
How, and I don't want to brush over the fact that mom and businesswoman dynamic, because there's so many women who are watching the show now who fit into that category. I too am a dog mom, and I also own a business, obviously. So how do you balance, if that's even the correct word? I mean, I don't want to say this work-life balance, because some people say that that's a myth. But how do you do it, and what tools do you use to kind of help you manage it all?
Sure. Well, also, if I'm going to be very honest, I will say that you can't have it all, right? I'm going to
Mm,
be very honest. I don't think you can have it all. You can't be the best and the most, I guess, there and present mom and also be the one with the most clients, right?
mm,
Because something's got to give. I needed to find a place within my professional career and also my life as a mom.
mhm,
I had to find a balance that worked for me. Is it work life balance? I don't know. Because, like you said, I don't even know what that concept really means.
mhm,
Because there is a balance, but there's also an imbalance at times, right? Some days my kids are driving me insane and I may not be able to focus as much as I would like to for my work life, right? And vice versa. But I always need to prioritize. So I believe that's the biggest or the best skill that I have learned from all of this is that I need to prioritize every day. It's a new way of thinking. Every day I have to prioritize what am I going to do that day because
mhm.
it's not the same as it was yesterday. Things have changed, needs have changed for my clients and my family and for myself. So every day is a scheduling and also prioritizing task that I have to take on.
Mhm. Do you use, checklists? I mean, I'm huge on, like, checklists and task lists to keep me sane.
Oh yes. Without that, I don't even think I could get by. I'll tell you, I have not only my calendar that, reminds me of things all the time. I have a magnetic calendar on my fridge that I write things down on so I can see those right away as soon as I wake up. I also am feverishly always taking notes on my phone because who carries post-its and stuff now anyway? I do sometimes, but yeah, most of the time that's how I get by. You have to constantly remind yourself of the things that are still pending so you can get to them. And I also don't believe in half-assing anything. So if I'm going to take something, if
I
I'm going
love
to
it.
take on something, I'm going to do it well and I'm going to do it the best to the best of my abilities. So if that means I'm taking in less clients because I'm busy, that is what it's going to be. But I'm not going to take on clients and not do the best job that I can do because that's just not who I am.
Yeah, and that says a lot about your ethic, your creed, and your philosophy on work. So I'm gonna switch up a couple questions that I wanted to ask you because I wanted the audience to know a bit more about the work that you do. What do you specialize in? And I'll ask a follow up after that. But tell us more about your practice.
Sure. So I work exclusively with startups and small businesses, and I only practice four areas of law. It's business, contract, trademark, and copyright. So those four areas I've noticed over the years are the four main areas that a startup or a very small business owner would need to, get off the ground. So I wanted to have that relationship with my clients because they are going to be small business owners, hopefully for a very long time. Nobody starts a business and wants to give it away after a couple of years. So I wanted to have that relationship with my clients so they don't have to bounce around from one attorney to the next for these four things. And as I mentioned, those are usually the four things that a small business owner would need. And I do have a niche practice. I have a few different industries that I focus on. Although I have clients in all industries, those are just there are a few that I'll tell you about that I personally just really love and enjoy. So I found a way to incorporate my passions
Mm,
into my profession. So those niche areas, one is the pet industry. So I work with a lot of pet businesses. In fact, I know Elsa is located in Maryland. I was actually recently working with a pet boarding facility in Port Tobacco.
how
Um,
about that?
yeah, yeah. So it's great. I got to work with clients all over the country for federal matters like trademark and copyright. And then I work a lot with fashion and beauty clients as well. So if you have a fashion line or a beauty line that you want to get off the ground, or if you need protection for those two areas, I'm your girl. That's why I also mentioned that I spoke at FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology. I gave a lot of talks on how to protect your brand if you are a fashion business owner. And then I also work with a lot of creatives. but that just kind of encompasses all of those things that I just mentioned anyway.
I love it. I love it. And Shahrina, what is it about you that really sets you apart from the competition? Because there are plenty of people out there doing copyrights and trademark law, but really, what sets you apart? What is it about you that makes you unique?
I think, well, obviously, all of us have our individual backgrounds that make us unique, just at first glance. But I think what really sets me apart, and you can look at my reviews online to kind of mirror what they're saying. My clients are saying is that I'm very personable. I can talk to anyone about anything. I can explain trademarks and copyrights to my kids. In fact, they're always writing the little R in a circle if they come up with names, which is really funny. But I've told them that TM is what you can use before you actually register. So you cannot use the R in a circle
Huh.
before mommy has registered it for you. So,
I
uh,
love that.
yeah, so I mean, it's I think it's my ability to connect with people on a different level. And I believe that in the legal industry, at least, we are taught so early on from law school that you have to be serious, you have to look mean and scary, like, right? I do.
Oh, no, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean it's true. And if you think of the typical attorney in your mind, who do you think of? It's not me. So
And that's a whole other discussion that we can have. Yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I think my ability to connect with people, to explain to them in simple terms what it is that they need to do and what it is that we're going to be doing together, that really sets me apart.
What would you say is your ideal client? I mean, if you could just pick one and go, yeah, that's the kind of person that I'd like to work with. Describe that person to me.
Sure. So my ideal client would be a serial entrepreneur,
Mhm.
someone whose ideas are just going all the time, very creative, doesn't give up easily, and doesn't get scared easily, because business ownership is very, very scary. It can be very, very scary, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm saying that because I have experienced it on my own when I started my own law practice. So when I speak about these things, they're not abstract thoughts in my head, they're actual things that I have lived through. And I will acknowledge that it is very scary to to own a business. But it doesn't have to be that way. There are ways you can help yourself to not be scared, right? So my ideal client would be someone who's creative, who's not scared, who has ideas, and who is serious about legal protection. Because without having the legal protections in place, you're really not going to go that far with your business.
No, agreed. And I love that you said that and described like your ideal client because one of the things in the estate planning world that I do is encourage my clients to think of estate planning holistically.
Mhm.
There are a number of professionals that need to or should be in your sphere. You're at the center as the one that's trying to create this estate plan, but in that sphere, in that orbit, you've got people like me, the estate planning attorney. If you are a creative, then absolutely someone like you who can guide people to protect, in a different way, but protect what they've worked so hard, to build, whether that be through trademarks or copyrights, and financial advisors and tax attorneys and all the rest. But the fact is that we need to get comfortable with surrounding ourselves with professionals. That it's okay, and in fact, it's encouraged. Because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
Um, yeah, and if you would, could you kind of break things down? You talked about your kids playing around with the trademark symbols and the copyright symbols, but for the vast majority of people, they really don't understand the differences between trademarks and copyright. So if you could just break that down for us, that would be great.
Sure. I would love to. Thank you for asking that question, because I just get too passionate about explaining this stuff, and I can talk about it forever. So it's too bad that your show is gonna not go on for the whole day, because I can talk about it forever. So when you think of trademark, think of branding. Is the identity of your business, of your brand. So the way I like to teach trademark matters is just break the word down. It's the mark of your trade. So
Mm,
business name, business logo, business slogan, or a product name, a product slogan if you have one, a product logo. They can all be different. So what do I mean about product versus business name? So think of Starbucks, for example. That's their business name. They have that beautiful logo of a mermaid, right? I don't think they have a slogan because I would have known. I'm there all day long. But now let's talk about their brand. So I've just discussed the business name and the logo. I don't believe they have a slogan, so we won't get into that. The word Frappuccino. How many of you are enjoying Frappuccinos over the summer? It's the blended ice drink. You will not see the word Frappuccino in any other cafes or anywhere they serve coffee because it's a registered trademark and it's a brand of their product. So not only can you protect the business name and the logo and the slogan, you can also protect the brands that you're selling, the products that you're selling, or the services, for example, like a podcast, for example. If you have a podcast name, logo, slogan, those are all protectable with trademarks. So when you think of trademark, think of branding, think of the brand identity, and how you relate to it. And that's what gets protected under trademark law. Was that okay?
yeah, no, that was fine. That's a lot, and I'm sure people are going to go back and play this over and over. And I hope you do. Please do save this in your YouTube, library or whatever. Now, talk to us about copyright though, because that's significantly different, and people mishmash the terms, but they are very different.
Absolutely, they're very different. And in fact, they're actually handled by two separate governmental entities. So the trademarks are handled by the United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is a completely separate entity from the Copyright Office, which handles the copyrights. So what is a copyright? So a copyright is basically the right to copy your own materials. That's how I like to say it. So if you are writing a book, you're writing a song, you're an artist, so you have drawings, um, if you are creating music, if you are a videographer, if you're a photographer, all those things that you create for creative purposes, all those things, the original work of authorship, that is what gets protected under copyright law. So when you think of someone stealing someone else's materials, like even online, if you see someone using someone else's pictures, that's a copyright infringement. That is not trademark. That trademark could be tied in, but that's not the main issue. So when you think of copyright, think of the right to copy your own works of authorship.
Hmm. Hmm. And I've seen, and this is really important, like what can happen, like if, and I know this as an attorney, but I'm asking you for the purpose of sharing with the audience. What happens when, there are people that go on websites and just snatch pieces, blogs and whatnot, and then repurpose it as their own? Tell us what the significant problem with that
Oh,
is.
yeah, that's just so bad, and it's so rampant right now. I don't know if it's because we've all been cooped up in our houses for the last 2 years, but the problem with infringement, copyright infringement, has skyrocketed because people are creating more materials, more people are on social media than ever before, and they just don't see the problem with clicking copy and then reuse it for their own purposes. And what you're really doing when something does not belong to you and you're using it for whatever purpose, personal or professional, you are infringing on someone else's copyright. So be very, very careful with that, because not only can they sue you for damages on their own, there's also statutory damages that they can ask for, meaning you'll have to pay up basically if you really did take their product and use it, or materials, I should say.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of leads into my next question. What problems do you see when people try to DIY the trademark application process or
Mhm.
copyright?
Sure. So there is not a lack of people trying to do all of this on their own. I don't know if it's just a sign of the times because everything is DIY. You have Pinterest, which promotes DIY for everything. You have Etsy, that's, DIY this and that, which is perfectly fine. But when it comes to legal matters, even if you think you know everything, you probably don't, at least not as much as someone that does it on a daily basis for a living, right? So sometimes when clients come to me and they have already butchered their trademark application, for example,
Mhm.
because they didn't know what to put in there, or they put in some wrong information, it becomes a lot more costly to fix, right? So if you have butchered something and then an attorney needs to fix it, now it's going to cost you a lot more because the attorney would have to go and try to undo everything. Whereas if you hired an attorney in the beginning, they could have just done the process, taken care of the process very easily, much easier anyway than when you have butchered it. So what I have seen is, people not putting in the correct information, or missing information. That is at least, kind of like the baseline. But I have also seen responses to office actions, which are basically given to you by the trademark office saying, we're not going to register your mark because of X, Y, and Z. I have seen clients who put happy faces and LOL in their responses, which is mind-boggling because this is supposed to be an actual legal document. So, when once all those things have been done, it's very hard to now salvage what has been ruined. So that's what I've seen with trademark applications. With copyright, people just don't even bother to protect their work, especially photographers, other creatives who are so excited about putting it up on social media that they just don't care, or they don't think it's worth it for them to protect it. But then they start seeing it everywhere else, and that's a huge problem.
Is it as simple for the with respect to copyrights? Is it as simple? Because I see this on, say, like TikTok, for example. Like there's the call sign or whatever, the person's
Mhm.
account on the video or on, a picture that they're sharing. Is that enough to communicate that this is mine? And if you try to reproduce it, I'm going to come after you. Is that enough to just put something on whatever media you publish?
Sure. I mean, let me just backtrack a little bit, saying that I don't know too much about TikTok. I'm really new at TikTok.
Yeah,
So,
I am too. I just it's like a crazy super highway of videos and
yeah.
cat videos
And
and
right now, saying that I own the rights to whatever, that's not really going to do much. And you have to remember, every time you upload something on any social media platform or any platform, you are agreeing to their terms of use. So, for example, every time I upload to Instagram, which I do like every day, I am agreeing to whatever they put in their, super long terms of use and privacy policy, which, by the way, I've looked into it. Every time you upload, you still supposedly maintain the ownership to your copyright material. However, you're giving them an exclusive license to use your materials any way they want in the entire world. So Instagram can't get sued for the things that you're uploading, even if they use it for something else. Now, here's something
Mm.
interesting I've noticed. I was at a restaurant recently, and there was this the TV screen was on, and it was looping with little, uploads from Instagram of dog and cat videos. I don't think these people know that their videos ended up on TV.
Oh
But
my.
yeah, and the only thing that Instagram did in that instance was have the handle for each of the individuals that uploaded it, but that was it. So you are giving them, any social media platform, permission to use your materials so they can't get sued. However, if, let's say, Elsa liked something I posted, she copied it and she posted somewhere else, that is infringement. But in order to go after her, we have to go through a lot of other hoops, to see if it was registered. Because you can't, by the way, you can't sue someone for copyright infringement unless it's registered. So
Hmm.
that's number one. So when I have my clients come to me saying, hey, someone is claiming that I infringed on their copyright, I ask them, well, do you have a registration number? Because if you don't, you're wasting all of our time, and I'd rather not. So that's, that's a big thing.
That's
So
a good thing. That's a good tidbit to know, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that doesn't mean that you should go and copy people's stuff, because you never know what's actually registered and what's not. And if it is registered, you're gonna be on the hook for a lot of money.
Wow. Wow. Really good information. As we are approaching the top of the hour, what would you say are some, just maybe two or three tips that could leave with our audience? What should they do if they are, if they're starting a business, because that's usually when, a lot of these discussions, arise. What tips would you have for them?
Sure. Number one, just from a personal standpoint, don't discuss your businesses or business ideas with your friends or family. Not
Hmm.
only is that going to get the word out there, but you don't want their negativity to affect your dreams, right? You
Hmm.
have your own visions and you need to keep your mouth shut until you're ready to go. And that's when you tell the world, hey, this is what's coming out. Because guess what? There have been too many times I have seen, even in my own history, I have seen people tell me, oh, that's not going to work. Why don't you do something else? So they have effectively killed your dreams even before you had a chance to do anything about it. So don't talk to everybody about it. Of course, if you have a partner and you wanted to discuss, that's something completely different, but don't go and blast it to everybody, because I bet you someone's going to say something that will make you at least double, take a double look at what you're doing. That's number one. Number two, before you blast anything on social media at all, the name, the logo, the slogan, and this happens all the time because people want that publicity, they want the followers. Before you do any of that, consult with an attorney like myself so you can see how you can protect your brand identity, to see if there would be any conflicts, that if someone else has a similar or the same name, by you using that same name even without you knowing, you could be infringing on someone else's trademark, because again, that's brand identity. So you could actually get in trouble even if you didn't know that your name that you came up with, your business name, is infringing on someone else's. So it's always a good idea to speak to an attorney to get all that straightened out before you spend more money on promoting, on production, things like that. And the third one would be to say, don't compare yourself to anyone else, because
Hmm.
you don't know everyone, you don't know anyone's struggle for
No,
your life.
right.
And everything we see online is through rose-colored glasses, right? And no one's gonna put up their struggles really online, right? No one's gonna put that on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. They're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm having such a rough time with this." What do we see though on social media? We see, "I just made six figures
Oh,
in one day." I'm like, okay, whatever. But these are the things that can subconsciously tell you to stop doing what you're doing because you're not good enough. So just don't compare yourself. You're in your own journey, everybody else on their own journey. You'll get to where you need to go if you just stay focused and take the safeguards that you need to by speaking to attorneys like myself, Elsa, and whoever else it may be.
I love it. Now I want to get a little personal as we're wrapping up the interview and approaching the top of the hour. Shahrina, what would you like your legacy to be?
Sure. I think my legacy would be my law practice, because I have worked with so many different people throughout the country, actually throughout I have international clients as well.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people just don't think of me when they think of lawyers. So I feel like that space has been, you know, slowly and gradually been opening up. So that would be my legacy, to show people that it's possible, even if you didn't have a role model who looks like you could be that for someone else.
I so appreciate that we're ending on that note, because that's one of the things that I aim to do with this platform is to, feature women generally, women of color as well. diverse backgrounds who are inhabiting spaces that have not traditionally been inhabited by women who look like us. So I love the fact that you touched on that, because it's honest. You're being authentic. And I that resonates with me, and I'm sure that resonates with a number of women who are watching this broadcast. So wow, what a joy! It's really been a pleasure to get to know you and to actually interview you. And it's just really a small world. We met through a virtual um, marketing media, platform, through a third party, and also connected on LinkedIn, and here we are. So we both, Shahrina and I, believe in the power of networking. The world is a really small place. You never know who knows who. And I'm so glad that you are now in my orbit, and I'm able to call you, friend, and you're just so just a lovely person. How can we support you on social media? I'm going to put your contact information on,
Oh, thank you.
and tell us how people typically reach you, and how they can set up a consultation with you.
Sure. So thank you so much for that. And I share the same sentiments. I just love the fact that we actually met, and I think we were meant to meet. So
Absolutely.
yeah, all my links are actually on my website, which you have so graciously included here. And then also on social media, you could just look for my name, Ankhi-Krol Law, and I should pop up, or my by my actual name, not my law firm's name, Shahrina Ankhi-Krol. And the consultation information is all online. There's actually a tab for consultation. You can do that, or you can shoot me an email, say, hey, I'd like to schedule a consultation, and it's that easy. So call me, email me, or at least follow me on social so we can stay in touch.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And by the way, when you go on her website, on Sharina's website, she has lovely videos of, like, a welcome video, and videos of appearances that she's done. So she's definitely out there. She's making the most of not only her physical beauty, but also all her many talents. And she's definitely showcasing that on her website. And I invite you to give her a call and connect with her. Shahrina, thank you so much. It has been a
Thank you.
pleasure. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will talk with you shortly.
Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.
Take care. Everyone, wasn't she just a lovely guest? Shahrina Ankhi-Krol, and there's her information one last time on the screen. One of the last questions that I asked Shahrina was what she wanted her legacy to be. And as an estate planner in the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia, that's what we help people not only define, but protect, every single day. So if you are in Maryland or DC and want to have a discussion, a strategy session, just to talk about legacy, what are the things that you want to protect? That there's probably something that's just been gnawing at you for a long time, and that you need to get documents and so forth in place to protect not only the things, but the people that mean a lot to you. I want you to give our office a call. The number's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can also reach me at elsawsmithlaw.com. On the website, we'd be more than happy to sit down with you and start strategizing, for what your legacy should be and what you want it to be. Let's get creative. Let's think outside the box. And I'd love to have a chat with you. Again, everyone, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Women Winning Wednesdays. I'm your estate planning attorney, Elsa W. Smith, saying it's been a pleasure, and I will speak to you on the next episode. Be well, everyone.